Hey loves, and welcome to another episode of the Thrive Like a Mother podcast. Y'all, today's episode is one that is straight from the heart. It is not perfectly planned. It's not this time going to be full of tips and strategies. Really, y'all, this episode, it's a moment. It is a line in the sand. It is a reflection on what can happen when you finally choose to go for it. No matter how long it takes, no matter how scared you feel, no matter what your story has been. Y'all, we are at the beginning of summer. My oldest Olivia just finished first grade. Yay, celebration. And we are heading into summer and y'all quickly approaching the half point of the year of 2025. And so right now, I feel like I do this pretty much every season, especially in my first season. I had hey, this is the halfway point. How are we feeling? One of those reflection type episodes. That's what today is. Because as we're heading to the middle of the year, I am realizing how much has shifted for me in 2025, how much I have been changed. And so I'm going to reflect a bit on the beginning of this year. And we're really just going to talk about it, y'all. What if you just did it? I mean, seriously, like Nike says, just do it. What if you just said yes to the dream that has been tugging at your heart for all these years quietly that you've been keeping inside? What if it didn't matter how long it took? It didn't matter if it took 2 years. It didn't matter if it took 2 weeks. What if today you chose to stop waiting for the permission slip and just to go for it? Messy, not really knowing all the action steps, but taking steps towards that dream. What if you decided that your voice mattered? That your story was not only worthy of being heard, but necessary. That in spite of any pain that you've had because of what you've gone through, doesn't matter. What if you just said, I'm going for it because of my story? I've asked myself these questions, these reflection questions a lot over the past few years. If you've been following my journey and my story for a while, then some days you know that I've been brave. And there have also been some days where I've stayed silent and kind of reclused. But still, every single day, I've been building towards this moment, this line in the sand that happened for me, really, I truly believe, at the beginning of this year, even when I didn't realize it. And so I want to talk about the beginning of this year because the beginning of this year, I had the opportunity to stand on stage and speak to an audience of powerful women and breathe life and truth and hope into that audience. And y'all, let me tell you, I spoke in a way so openly, so vulnerable, and literally leaving nothing left. I felt in that moment something lift from me. You know when you have like that, you've been holding on to your story for so long and it's somehow started to become heavy and you don't realize how heavy it is until it starts to lift, and then you're like, whoa, I have been carrying this? Y'all, on that stage, standing up there, first solo speech, keynote, I felt the last of the power that my childhood trauma had left over me. I felt it break and lift away. I felt it release. I felt seen. And most of all, I felt held, not just held by myself, but held by the women in the audience, held by God, held by the past version of me who knew that now finally I was ready. That moment, y'all, that moment at the beginning of the year was the beginning of something new. There has been a shift in the way that I show up as a mom, as a friend, as a wife. There has been a shift in the way that I show up in my business on this podcast. Y'all, we were not doing videos in season 1. In fact, I thought it would take me a few more years to get to this point. But like I said, there's some points where you just don't even know until you know, right? And so the beginning of the year, y'all, that was it for me. It was the day I stopped dreaming about becoming a speaker and decided that I was one, that I was going to fully embody that part of myself. And in that, I started to fully embody all the other parts of myself that I thought were going to take a while to get there. I just started being her. The one you see right here, right now. I just started being her. And so if you're listening right now or watching and you have a dream that is scaring the heck out of you right now, I mean, like to the bones core, just afraid. What if you just did it? What if this episode today was your sign? What if you trusted the slow path? Because like I said, sometimes things aren't instant, right? Sometimes you don't know until it happens and you realize that you've been on this path all along. But what if you just let yourself take the breaks that you need as you're working towards this goal, but don't ever let yourself quit? I am a firm believer in allowing yourself, and this is recent, y'all. This is very recent. Allowing yourself to take breaks, knowing that the path is always the path. Y'all hear me say this all the time. Your path is always yours, no matter what. But what if you just let yourself be brave? Literally, one small step at a time, as we're reaching the halfway point of this year, and you've been reflecting over all you've done so far for the past few months. I promise y'all, you may not think it, but you have been taking action. You have been. It's just at this point, you have to be ready to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm going for it. No matter how small the step is, no matter how many steps that you need to take. The biggest thing, y'all, that I think is that we sometimes move in silence a little bit too much. Sometimes it's important to remember that you don't have to take these steps alone. That you don't have to move in silence and suddenly you've reached like this apex. Sometimes it's important for the people closest to you, the community, the world, to see your progress in whatever capacity you feel that they need to. Sometimes that's needed because when you're in it by yourself, we're only with ourselves 24 hours a day. Let's be real. And that can get lonely sometimes when you are working towards a big goal. When no one sees all the work that you're putting in, no one sees the hours that you're spending working, no one sees it. What if it didn't have to be that way? There are so many women out there, y'all, and I learned this. I've learned this in the past few years. There are so many women out there, myself included, who are walking the same road with you. Maybe not towards the same path, because again, your path is your path, but we are walking our own roads with you. We are cheering for your voice, cheering for your story, cheering for your healing and your becoming. I need you to be the example. I need you to be the one who chooses to thrive. Even after the trauma, even after failure, even after you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Even after all of that, be the one, love, who shows another woman that it's possible. Because we are not, although we spend the full 24 hours of the day with ourselves, this life completely with ourselves, we are never alone. We are never alone. We need to show each other what's possible by making sure we keep going and choosing that line in the sand, and choosing, as one of my favorite speakers, Valencia Key, always once said, she said, it's already done. If you just embody that and say within yourself, it's already done, because God has said that it is. He knows your path. We don't know, unfortunately, know our path. But we do have to lean in at some point and draw that line in the sand and trust that even though we don't know where it's going, even though we don't know if it's the right path, we have to trust that if we keep taking the steps and keep listening and keep showing up and keep allowing other people to help and keep remembering that we're not doing this alone, then eventually we'll get there, right? And so I want to, in today's episode, it's short and sweet, y'all. Like I said, this is not one of those ones where I'm going to give you the tips and strategies. This is the one where we are reflecting and we are drawing a line in the sand and we are saying yes to ourselves and we are doing it. So thank you for being here always. Thank you for holding space for my heart today, for allowing me to speak from my heart always. And y'all, if this episode, if it resonated with you, send me a DM. Like I seriously, when I say you are not in this alone, I mean that, because I am rooting for every single one of you. I want you to let me know exactly what dream you're chasing, how I can support, and really what has been on your heart that you are finally ready to say yes to. That you are saying, I'm doing it. I'm drawing the line in the sand today, Eb. And if you're in that season where it still feels too big, because that can happen, just know that I believe in you. Just remember that we're doing this together and that you're not alone. So love, until next time, keep being brave and keep walking in your power.